Hi, I'm Delusion Dispeller, and by request from several people, I want to talk to you today about the psychological phenomenon in narcissistic and other toxic relationships known as Stockholm Syndrome and learned state of helplessness. I want to explain what these are. I want to talk a little bit about what this looks like in the relationship with the narcissist, whether it's a spouse, a friend, a parent, whatever. And give you a little bit of data on both of those things. And then talk to you a little bit about, if you are stuck in the situation or if you can get out of the situation. So, I'm going to talk to you about those things right now. Bear with me, I'm still recovering from that nasty yuck that is going around and having to land on me. Usually it doesn't, but this time it decided to stay. Okay. This whole conversation came about by one of my YouTube viewers writing to me and asking me to talk about the guilt that the victim feels about not letting the narcissist abuse them. And then another viewer came to me and asked me about Stockholm Syndrome. And this is all kind of wrapped up also in the feeling of learned state of helplessness. It's all wrapped up in one. So I thought it would be good to make a video and kind of cover all of these areas. Okay, so we're going to talk about a reason why people stay in abusive relationships and narcissistic relationships. As I said, there's several things. Stockholm Syndrome, learned state of helplessness, and things like that. Many people will say to me, oh, I just don't know. My mom seems to love me, but I'm not sure. She loved me in her own way. I'm sure my dad must have cared. After all, he did this for me or that for me. He only hit me once in a while, and that was just when he got drunk. That kind of stuff. Even in situations of very, very horrific things that happen, people being tortured, mutilated, whatever, sexually abused, you can hear people say these kind of things. Well, I know my mom really loved me. Dad was just ill. Mom was just sick. My husband really cared about me. He just didn't know how to show it. He grew up in an abusive past. And on it goes. This leads me to talk to you about the term Stockholm Syndrome. This is a phenomenon. It's a psychological thing in which the abuse victim identifies closely with the abuser. This term started up in about 1973 in an actual case in Stockholm, Sweden, in which the victims of a bank robbery, when those criminals that were robbing the bank and holding them hostage were being led away, hauled away by the police, they were clinging to them, sometimes physically, and arguing with the police, oh no, they're good people, don't take them away, etc. And when it came to wanting them to testify against these people, they wouldn't do it because they were so convinced in their mind that these were good people because of the few times they had been shown a little bit of kindness by their captors, in between the threats, of course. There's been other cases in which the victims would not speak up against their attackers, and also there have been cases where victims would not leave the abuser even when they had a chance to escape, when nobody would have harmed them if they would have, believe it or not. From my personal experience, I have seen this in the case of spiritual abuse a lot. People will refuse to blow the whistle on the pastor that's abusive, or report the bad things that he's doing to people, or the false teachings that are manipulative and controlling people or making them feel guilty, because after all, he is a man of God, and one day he'll answer to him, judge not, lest we be judged. They don't want to get involved. They don't want to confront. So more and more people become abused in spiritual situations, churches, and not just spiritual, groups in general. A lot of times multi-level marketing groups have abusers and controllers in them. I know because I've been in a few of them. This is also called learned helplessness. It's a state of feeling like you're stuck, kind of. In order for Stockholm Syndrome to be the case, the victim needs to feel that their life or their safety is in jeopardy, that their very life is at stake. Then they must have a dependence on their victimizer. the abuser. Narcissists tend to create total dependency and a feeling of being stuck with them in their victims. Sometimes they use threats with this. The victims also are usually isolated from people or from their own reasoning abilities and are told, I tell you what's good for you. I tell you what's best. Only I know what you should do. Which means that often they'll only hold to their attacker's views and often will be only allowed to hear what they think about things rather than form opinions for themselves. Narcissists tend to insist that they know you better than you know yourself. It's all in your head. You're just exaggerating. You're crazy. In other words, gaslighting behaviors. This also helps form that feeling of helplessness in the victim. Stay tuned for my next video where I'll talk more about this.